Hello, TBE Network, and welcome to the TBE podcast, where we share thought-provoking stories, strategies, and ideas, as well as engage with insightful leaders from a wide range of fields and businesses across Africa. If the topics of entrepreneurship, business, startups, property, marketing, or finance interest you, then you have tuned into the right place. Okay, welcome back, guys, to episode 5. Today we have Yoss Reddy with GCI. The topic today touches on finance and investments and how best to manage one's finances and make sound investment decisions in an ever-changing economy. With us today we have Yoss Reddy of GCI Wealth. GCI Wealth is a financial planning and investment group dedicated to ensuring the financial future of their clients. Yoss, welcome to episode 5 of the TBE podcast. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yes, let's jump straight into it. What are obviously GCI Wealth is a financial investment group. What are some of the key services that you offer clients?
So the GCI group is a fully fledged independent financial services provider. Founded over 20 years ago. We have a national presence, 15 offices around the country. And in terms of services, we provide tailored individual wealth planning. And wealth planning isn't just about one product, one annuity, or one investment. Wealth planning is about a holistic view of your financial needs. So it's looking at every cent you earn, every asset you own, and how you're going to tailor that to make sure it meets your life objectives. So we offer a comprehensive set of advice solutions for individuals that would range from investment planning, retirement planning, estate planning, all the way through to asset management, and then your more standard industry stuff like risk cover, life, disability, dread disease. And then we also cater for corporate benefits. So for your corporates, we offer group scheme retirement funding, consulting, your group risk cover, and then asset management for group scheme funds.
Okay. All right. And what makes up a financial plan? I mean, you've briefly touched on retirement plans and all of those things, but firstly, maybe a better question is: do you think everyone needs financial advice? Is it a service that's a luxury? Because I think about myself as a younger business owner. Would you advise me that I would need financial advice, and what steps should I take to ensure that I get a sound financial plan in place?
So it's strange you ask
maybe
that.
a big question
it's
for a short podcast.
It's something we've been giving considerable amount of thought to at GCI, and the phrase we obviously came up with when we were exploring the question was, why didn't they teach us this at school? And if I expand on that, I had a pretty privileged school education. I went to St. Stithians, and it gave me an unbelievable foundation to enjoy a prosperous career. But what it lacked was the basic tenets of financial literacy.
Yeah.
So if school had taught me the power of savings, the impact of compound interest, trust me, I would have made better financial decisions than I did in my early adulthood, right? So it's about providing quality access to financial education. Everyone deserves an opportunity to learn how to manage their finances. So irrespective of, skin color, socioeconomic background, age, we all deserve that opportunity.
Sure.
So one, if you're asking me, should everyone have a financial plan? Once you've got a foundation of financial literacy, you need a tool to be able to put that into place so you can manage your money. You look at millennials now, and with all the opportunity you look at the stats, they are the poorest generation ever.
Yeah, I can testify to it.
And that concept of intergenerational wealth and how wealth is preserved and passed on for generations to come beyond the generations that earn it, right, is something that is not taken seriously enough, not attention paid to it. And having a holistic financial plan, a strategy. So one, understanding finances, and then a strategy to implement to make sure you manage your finances well, right? That allows you to track where you're going to meet your goals, your life objectives, is of utmost importance. Tying it back to what constitutes a financial plan, literally The industry has, and we follow that process, a recommended 6-step financial planning process. So first is you establish a relationship with a financial planner, so you get to know what services they offer. They would get to understand your needs and concerns. The second step is to gather information. So, money's not a comfortable subject to talk about, but if you make the decision
it can be quite taboo.
If you make the decision to reach out to a financial planner, then you want to give them as much accurate, truthful information about your finances as possible. Also, you want to set out your goals to them so they understand what you have in store, right? You want to set clear timelines, discuss your risk appetite. Third step, a financial planner will go back and analyze all of that. So it'll say, you've got these goals, right? Let's draw a line in the sand and say, this is where you realistically are now relative to those goals. Okay. Fourth step, come back and develop a plan. So present you with the various decisions you're going to have to make, the changes, right, in order to go from where you are now to realistically achieving the goals you've set. Okay. And then they are accredited, spent many years studying, right, to be able to impart advice and give you recommendations to put in place to achieve that. Okay. That takes us to the fifth step, which is implementing the plan. Okay?
Right.
You can either do it on your own, or in which case the financial planner is acting as a coach, to...
Well, I would imagine like having an external sort of mediator of that would be quite valuable, because I look at it in my own life, and I think my goals tend to be unrealistic, and I can't control that. It's just, that's the gut reaction, is to set, I want R1 million in the bank by the time I'm 40. Maybe that's just, that figure isn't derived from anything. It's not derived from any critical sort of breakdown of the actual figures. And I would imagine having that third party sort of person overlooking that process would be very valuable.
That's why they're there, a partner for your needs, and you need experts to look after it. So we'll talk about it later. I'm hoping when we discuss TBE and our love for this fully serviced office space, etc.
I like how you just casually slid that in. Yes,
everything's marketing, everything's sales driven in life. So, the fifth step is then implementation. The sixth step is obviously monitoring it, right? So then you would set a predefined time period on how often you're going to see the financial planner to check in. Life happens, things change. So, we'd recommend at least annually. And then you take stock of where you are and what refinements the plan needs, taking into account what has happened to still make sure you're on track for your goals.
Yeah, you can't have a plan that was set 5 years ago and assume that it'll just obviously still apply or be applicable. I think, and I don't know if it's true for everyone, but definitely from my perspective, you hear, like, let's say people throw the term around financial planner, advisor, and it tends to come with this idea that you've got to have a lot of money to have that service. Is that a misconception?
I love the question. So it shouldn't be. The conception is, and I'd say misconception, is that they bandy this term around high net worth client, or nowadays ultra high net worth client, right? And how much investable assets do you have? Or how much are you earning? Not at all. Everyone deserves to have an opportunity to learn to manage their finances and to enjoy a healthy financial future, right? And in our attempt to democratize that, we've got a market-leading FinTech tool called Wealthbit. And, they say there's no such thing as a free lunch, so I'll put it into context now. But it is absolutely free for anybody, right? So what it allows you to do is, with a couple of clicks, you create a profile, put in your budget. Everything's confidential, so you will not get spammed. We don't use the personalized data. Obviously, the aggregated data, anonymized, allows us to draw insights in the industry, but nothing with your details on it, right?
Okay.
And we'll never get a financial planner to unsolicited give you a call.
Okay.
You log on, it's private to you. You put your budget in, and you put... you made a very valid point. Youngsters these days don't think in terms of retirement and putting an age to it. I grew up, I'm going to work till I'm 65 and I want to retire, and probably my parents were of a similar vein, and I'm old school. But you guys probably think about exactly what you said. I want X amount of bar at this age,
Yeah.
right? And you set these goals, and you need somewhere to track it. So Wealthbit allows you a couple of clicks. What your risk profile is, very important, right? What your appetite for risk is, what your assets are, what your liabilities are, and then we know that life changes. Okay, but in real time, as your circumstances change, you can quickly just make adjustments to it and say, look, got married, got a kid now, got a fund for the education. Okay, 6 years time is off to school. Starting school is, I don't know, 20 grand a year. How much do I need to put away? What does this do to the plans I had to have 2 bar at 40? Okay, and how do I need to adjust it? And it's totally confidential between the two of you. I said I'd put it into between the tech platform and yourself. I said I'd put into context that it's absolutely free. So obviously, we would love that you get to a stage where you say, look, I need help. I can only do X, Y, and Z, and I need some sort of help in order to get me. I've now looked at this and realized that I'm far off where I actually want to be in life. And that's where we hope you will reach out to a financial planner. The beauty of the platform is it's totally independent. So you can get a non-GCI financial planner.
Okay.
If you want to use a mutual financial planner, not a problem whatsoever.
Does your financial planner collaborate with you on the platform? Do they have access to it?
That's the basis of it. So once you appoint a financial planner, that's the basis of that financial plan, that 6 steps we went through, right? Is all now online. You can tailor it, you can make adjustments, and that forms the basis of whenever you review your financial plan. And it's in real time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the beauty of it. But what I was saying is you can appoint an independent financial planner. It doesn't have to be GCI. And then the financial planner pays a nominal fee for the use of that to be able to conduct their financial planning needs for their client. But if you choose not to, absolutely free for you. And I would encourage everyone. So the tool is Wealthbit. And
is it a website?
It's www.wealthbit.co. So no .za, just .co.
And is that something GCI developed?
GCI developed, market leading.
And have you got any kind of metrics on the usage at the moment?
At the moment, we're up to 6,000 individuals on there that make use of it to plan their financial
needs. And not
needs.
all GCI clients, I'd imagine.
No. For confidential reasons I can't mention, but other industry giants have seen the beauty of it, the fact of where technology is taking financial planning, and have embraced it.
Wow. Yeah. So we've touched on, I mean, this podcast is significantly too short to obviously dive and really get granular on this stuff, but we've looked at the financial planning and advising. Maybe we can jump over to the investment side of things. I mean, the thing that springs to mind when I think investment is obviously currently crypto. Is that something that GCI works in, or maybe even just offer us your opinion on crypto?
I'd have to caution this by saying, right, that I've seen enough investment presentations in my life that I'd have to put this little disclaimer at the bottom that none of this constitutes investment advice, right?
Sure.
I mean, I've worked in the investment industry, but I wouldn't classify myself in the current role I fulfill as an investment expert. I'll put it this way, right? Let's talk a little bit. I'll put crypto into it, right? So crypto is an asset class, right? And asset allocation would mean that you would split your money across various investment types, which would be shares.
So a diverse portfolio.
We'll get to diversification, but I mean shares, right? Cash, bonds, and other investments like crypto. Okay, but the extent to which you diversify across those asset classes and within those asset classes. So, for example, crypto. So let's say you're gonna put some in shares and a certain amount in bonds and cash, taking into account that asset classes hold different risk-return profiles, right? So equities over the long run would give you more return, but they are riskier, so they're more volatile over the short term, okay? So one, you need to take into account your risk profile. Now, Wealthbit actually helps you do that. A couple of basic questions like how would you react to market fluctuations, okay? And what is your appetite for risk? And it'll develop a risk profile for you.
Okay.
But let's talk about then diversification. In crypto, you've got Elon Musk's favorite Dogecoin, you've got Ethereum, you've got Bitcoin. You would diversify to mitigate risk, right?
Okay.
But, we advocate investing for long term, the benefits of long term investing and not chasing short term gains. Now, the problem is you find, forget about crypto, just in a general, it's FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So, the market is climbing and people go right in the top. I remember Bitcoin, 4 years ago, was probably close to 300,000 Rand.
Yeah.
People were just climbing in. Okay, and then what did it drop to? And then the same thing now recently, right? People buy in at the top. So I think it went to almost 900,000 Rand somewhere there. Everyone climbs in. They can't see the end. It's going to continue going, right?
Plummets. Yeah.
And then they make the worst decision ever, is that they sell out at the bottom. And all they've done, I mean, this is proven fact, right? All they've done is they've locked in their losses.
Yeah.
They've actually realized the loss is done. There's nothing they can do about it. So it's not...
So you're saying when it bottoms out, leave it. Maybe even put more in.
I'm not going to give investment advice, but I mean, you don't want to lock in your losses. Investing is a long-term game, So over the long run, you would expect, following a set philosophy of putting a little bit away on a regular basis, you're going to see net real returns, so returns in excess of inflation, that are going to get you to your goal, right? And it's having that long-term view. And I'm not going to get, you've seen I'm trying to avoid getting into the specifics of giving the investment advice, but I mean, that's because you need a financial planner with the expertise, and I'm not a financial planner, although I work in the financial industry. You need a partner, a trusted expert in that matter to give you advice, to give you the long-term advice to reach your goals. As much as you'd want me to say, go and plow it into Ethereum now, I'm going to hold back on that piece.
But
that recommendation.
I wonder if that maybe, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like looking at millennials and sort of their idea of finances in their lives, and or their idea of finances in their lives. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a philosophical question, but considering that financial thinking and investment is this long-term game, is there a correlation then between this culture of immediate gratification, which seems to have gotten worse over time, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't a victim of it. Do you think that like newer generations of, especially now, young professionals moving out into the world, is that a reason why there is this lack of long-term thinking within investments and finances in their lives?
Everything becomes instant gratification. I mean, the culture now, if you think about it, is get rich quick. And when you think about get rich quick, it's about making the most amount of money in the least amount of time.
Yeah.
Right? But for most of us, the get rich quick tips and tricks just don't work.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm immediately drawn to thinking about my sons. The amount of times I've had to hear about the latest rap star or the social media influencer who's coining it in a short amount of time, the first thing I want to do is berate them. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm drawn to conversations I had with my father, and I realized I was exactly the same when I was their age. But I mean, he sat me down and he said, son, building wealth is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? And I think that's the key here. It's about making the responsible decisions over the long term that's going to allow you to build wealth, protect wealth, not only for yourself, but for generations to come.
Sure.
And there's a lot to do with values, attitudes, and behavior that drives, different generations, from baby boomer or silent baby boomer, Gen X, millennials, etc. And if you understand the behavioral dynamics between those generations, then hopefully we can go some way together with financial literacy of solving this get rich quick mindset.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think the instant gratification idea gets put on millennials and Gen Xers, but it's probably something that's been around much longer than that, and it makes me think that maybe we actually do know that generating wealth and planning for the future and financial planning especially, we do, I think, at our core know that this isn't something that just happens overnight, and we do know that it is something that's long term. And it makes me wonder that maybe the issue isn't this idea that instant gratification just came out of nowhere, and millennials were subject to it. But maybe it's more a discussion around discipline, I guess.
It ties in exactly with what I was saying about attitudes, values, behavior, drive, right? How we fix the generations, and probably the underlying theme that we've got to fix for the intergenerational wealth gap. But with these days, you don't have to wake up every day and worry about being disciplined. That's why you get a trusted partner in place. So if you're using an online tool like Wealthbit, it keeps a track for you, and then together with a financial planner, they're there to like a little voice in your ear to say, listen, buying that fancy car now, this is what it's going to do for the kids' education at a later stage. And I mean, Wealthbit will actually show you that. So it'll say, you'll decide, okay, I'm going to splash out. I see you. There's a lovely Porsche parked in the visitors park and it parks down. So we use that as an example. I'm going to go splash out in a 911 Carrera 4S or something, right? And you pop that in and what the monthly payments is, or whether you're paying it cash, etc. And you can see immediately what it's going to do for.
If I do that, man, Wealthbit will explode.
Well, let's try to get you there so you can enjoy some of that.
And Yoss, you alluded to earlier about obviously working with TBE. How long have you been in TBE office space?
I'm going to say 5 years. I'm new to the group, and I think it is an established and enjoyable relationship. I think if you just tie it back now to the success of TBE and why it works for us, and you tie that back to the pandemic, you've seen massive commercial office space come under pressure. So you've seen the industry leaders that have big fancy offices that
4,000 squares available. Yeah,
they are asking. It's not even during the pandemic. They've realized that this remote hybrid is probably the way to go. So post the pandemic, they've got all this unused space because they're putting people on a hybrid 2-3 days, come in on a rotational basis, etc. And the beauty of TBE is, well, one, just like we'd ask you when you're putting your financial plan together, consult an expert. Okay, if I want my car serviced, it's not like the old days where you can just take the nut off the oil side at the bottom and drain it. You go and hand it in, These electronics, something goes wrong, you can't. Same thing with office space. I mean, the beauty of it is we get fully serviced offices, allows us to do what we do best. We don't have to worry about the operations, the infrastructure, etc. It's taken care of for us, right? It's a place for our clients to call home. There is a variety of prominent locations. I mean, I wasn't aware this was a location, but this is certainly a beautiful location to have.
Sure.
And the only thing I would know about property, the one thing that was drummed into me from an early age is location.
Yeah.
So, TBE, a variety of locations around the country to suit every sort of budget. A place where staff can come in and collaborate. What we like to say is, the office is where we make the magic happen. And then we can go home and get the other transactional stuff done. But when the team needs to, innovate, that's where we come to. And it is flexible. So you can scale it with your business needs. So as you go through a business's life cycle and you need different needs,
TBE can be
there
with you on those
They're
needs,
with you on the journey. I mean, we are currently investigating that opportunity because we're on a rapid mission to scale, and the business has scaled substantially over the last 2 years. So we'll be having those discussions with TBE on how we can accommodate the needs of our bigger workforce.
That's awesome. And maybe just to end off, you can tell our listeners and viewers where can they reach you if they want to reach you. Have you guys got a website? All of those
Certainly,
things?
yes. Thank you. So a couple of things to note. I mean, gci.co.za is the homepage. From there, you can be directed to for whatever your need may be, whether that's a corporate scheme on the individual basis. But I would urge all our listeners that the first port of call would be wealthbit.co.
Yeah, it sounds like a really helpful tool.
Start with something free. You got to give to get,
right?
Yeah. So
that's how you get them in.
Yes, let's not promote the website and the products. And the thing is, go take something for free, get a view of where you stand financially now. And when you put it in and you realize, look, I've got to make some decisions, then gci.co.za is where you need to come to for us to help you along that journey. And hopefully we see a lot of listeners' traffic site pick up.
Yeah,
in the coming days and months.
Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure. Definitely very educational, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Thanks so much for being on episode 5.
My tremendous pleasure. You made it very conversational, so not as
Awesome.
daunting as I thought it would be.
And I'm
I
sure,
appreciate it.
given the scope of what we're talking about, there'll definitely be scope for a future episode where we can maybe get a bit more granular into this stuff.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Awesome. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.